Hey everybody, so we are coming up on March. It is here before you know it. February, I felt like flew by. January was like eternal, but then February just like flew. Anyway, March, I have a challenge for myself in March because our death pile, don't like to call it that, our profit pile is just completely out of control. And Mr. Pishposh was starting to work on our garage and move things around and sort and everything like that and figure out what kind of storage needs that we're going to need going forward if we are going to try to do this as a couple full time. And we just realized there's stuff out there that might not even be worth the listing. We just have a lot to go through and a lot to work on. And so as we were looking at it and starting to feel a little slightly overwhelmed, I was like, you know what, I need to do some kind of challenge for March so that we're not bringing so much still into the house, that as we bring new things in, we tend to get focused on those things and the backlog just hardly doesn't get touched. And then sometimes it even gets added to. So that being said, I was like, could I do a no thrift March? And I was like, no, I couldn't. So anyway, thrifting is good for my mental health. And I just don't know what would happen if I took thrifting away from myself. It would make me not happy. And then I would lose my mojo for listing and it just would not be pretty. So I decided to come up with a challenge, which feel free to join me for the month of March. But I am going to do a very restricted thrifting program in the month of March. So if I didn't go thrifting at all, then like I could miss things, right? I mean, obviously as resellers, we miss stuff all the time. But I would not have found, if I hadn't gone the last few weeks, I wouldn't have found that sterling belt buckle that sold for $1,700. I wouldn't have found this the other day. We went as a family on Monday and I put it in my community post, but in case you don't see that, we found another glassy baby. See this? And I have it listed. It hasn't sold yet, but I have it listed at close to $700. And I figure I'm going to take an offer or something like that. So, but comps for this a year and a little less than a year ago were $600 to $700. It's called, if you don't know what glassy baby, I've had videos about this before because it's kind of a holy grail type thing that resellers look for. They're votive candles and they're made in Seattle and they get discontinued, like certain patterns get retired or they're special edition, limited edition type things. And they all have names. This one is called Treehouse, and I found out it was kind of a limited edition special thing made for a treehouse organization in, was it for foster kids or something like that in Seattle. So I was told by someone on Facebook that it's a pretty sought after glassy baby. Anyway, we had just found our first glassy baby a couple months ago, right? I did some posts about it and we sold it, and we have found, this is our fourth one since then. So it was like once we found one, it's like the floodgates opened, and Mr. Pishposh knows to look for them now too. So he's found a couple and I found a couple. This is new. It comes with its little tea light. It's got its sticker on the bottom. So it has sold for $600 in the past. I paid $15. So if I wasn't out thrifting, I wouldn't have found that, right? So I don't want to just give up the thrifting completely, but I'm going to be strict and hard on myself, even if it means going to the thrift store and coming home empty-handed. Totally fine. So I did kind of come up with some rules for myself and for Mr. Pishposh. We'll probably limit the bins, our little clearance area that we go to. We'll probably limit that because that's the kind of place we tend to just kind of like, it's like 25 cents. I'll just get it. 25 cents, right? We don't need any more of that right now. We don't need any more hats. So if we go to the bins, we're going to look through the hats. We're going to cherry pick if there's a Filson hat, if there's a Tilly hat, the ones that we know are guaranteed money makers. We went the other day and we found a pair of Cole Haan shoes. We have those listed for like $170. So I just don't want piles and piles of just kind of maybes or bread and butters or things like that. So that is the first thing. I will say I'm going to allow myself to thrift for myself and for my family. So most of our clothing, most of our home furnishings, everything like that comes from thrift stores, secondhand. And so when I'm at a thrift store, I'm usually on the lookout for my boys, things for them too. So I'm going to continue to do that. While I'm there, I am going to look for those special once in a lifetime, like that glassy baby, like, I don't know, the belt buckle, some of the other amazing things I've talked about on my channel. I'm going to look for those once in a lifetime, you know, rare items, those brands like Arc'teryx, things like that. I will keep looking for those things that are probably more of a sure bet. What I'm going to stop doing is picking up vintage just because it's vintage or something very sentimental, or hey, that's cool. Somebody on Depop will like that, right? Like these are things that end up being super slow to sell, or they just take us forever to list. And we have enough of that. We have so much stuff that we could be listing that need to be listed that we don't need to add to that pile for now. So we're going to see how far we can get in the month of March. Nothing that needs cleaning, you know, even if it's like something fairly good, if it's going to need a whole lot of cleaning and actually taking out a lot of that bread and butter kind of, you know, sentimental vintage stuff will probably solve that problem of picking up anything that needs cleaning. What I would like to do is focus on things that have a sell-through rate of 100% or higher. And what I mean by that is if you look at the amount of listings that are available, so say you search for, maybe it's a shirt, a brand, or something like that. And I'm going to try to be specific in my searching and research a little bit deeper at the thrift store so I can make those good decisions about bringing things home or not. So say I have a shirt, such and such brand, it's a button shirt, it's a size XL. So I'm going to search on eBay for those criteria. I'm going to see how many are listed. Now, if 50 are listed and then you click over to solds and 50 are sold, it's 100% sell-through rate. It's not an exact science. Don't get all mathematical-y on me or anything like that. This is just a base guide that a lot of resellers use in order to decide whether something will sell quickly or not. If there's 50 listed and 70 have sold, that's even better. Those are the types of things you can pick up and you know will sell fairly quickly. They're kind of a sure bet. So if there's something that I just think is really cool, you know, if it's something that's got a 100% sell-through rate and only sells for $15, I might not do that, okay? So I'm going to be super, super selective, and I think it'll be interesting. I have done this to a small degree in the last couple months or so. There's times I go into the thrift store and I come out empty-handed, or I have a bunch of stuff in my cart and I really look at it and then I put half of it back. So, but then the next time I go, I'm not so selective. Or sometimes when Mr. Pish Posh and I go together, it just kind of becomes this fun outing. And I'll be like, hey, should I get this? And he'll be like, yeah, sure, why not? And so we're not, you know, we're kind of bad for each other. Anyway, so we're going to be super, super strict on this. So feel free, if you would like to join me in this challenge, let me know in the comments down below. And I will try to keep you updated. I'll probably, in about 2 weeks, I'll let you know how it's going with the thrifting, if I've been successful, if I've found anything amazing, or if, you know, I just keep coming home empty-handed, which it's totally fine. I tell myself it's totally fine. Hope you guys are having a great week. Most of the family is sick at the moment. I think I'm picking up the crud as well. So that's going to help with my beginning of the March. I probably won't even be out at the thrift store for the next few days. Anywho, I don't have anything left to say. So this is just a short little video to let you know about March's challenge. I'll talk to you guys soon.